roundtable instalment of the Own the Challenge, Be the Change series. Today we have representatives from Scottish SMEs that the Scout project has worked with, being Crover, IntelliDigest, Solasta Bio and Therma-Chem, to discuss the great work that they are all doing in the areas of sustainability and carbon reduction. So for today's episode, we'll be focusing on Therma-Chem, and I'd like to invite Dave Semple to discuss their exciting work.
Thank you, Rebecca. The discussion that I'd like to talk to you about today was a project we did between 2006 and 2012. It was based in Romania, and it was part of a joint implementation agreement between the Romanian government and the Danish government, backed by the UNFCCC. So the idea is that we are an online chemical cleaning company who specialise in that area for power generation and petrochemical industry. So through power plants and process furnaces on refineries, they burn oil and they burn coal. Naturally, this causes inefficiencies and leads to carbon emissions. Our technology essentially cleans the boilers, makes them more efficient, which leads to fuel consumption reductions, which lead to lesser carbon emissions. So the major parties involved were the Hoboka Yash power plant, the Romanian government and their Ministry of Environment, the Danish government, the Danish Environment Protection Agency. Project Consultant was a Danish company, and the independent validator and auditor was DNV, who I'm sure most of you will have heard of. As I say, we were the technology supplier. So the project background was they had these two 420 tonnes an hour boilers, not large as far as power generating goes, but still emitting a lot of carbon emissions. What happens is the Grew and Hornstrup, who were the project consultants, they were identified the baseline, or as for the project, was they call business as usual. So that is how it would normally operate, and then compare it to after our technology was applied to see the differences and the comparisons, and more importantly, the carbon emissions savings. So each year between 2006 and then up to 2012, the important part of this is that through our cleaning technology, by making the units more efficient, we achieved a saving of over 10% each year in the carbon reductions. Now, that was approximately around 120,000 tonnes of CO2. But as I say, this was a small boiler. So this can be expanded across much bigger plant across the whole of the world. And because of this, we actually became the first chemical cleaning company to receive UNFCCC accreditation. And in fact, the methodology is specified on the UNFCCC. And to this day, we are the only chemical cleaning company in the world who has this accreditation.
Thank you so much, David. That's so exciting to hear the extent of the work that a Scottish SME can do in Europe and how far that can go globally. I want to invite any of the other SMEs we've got here today to discuss David's work.
That's quite an impressive engagement, considering the stakeholders involved, Danish government, and those who are getting through to receiving the UNFCCC accreditation. So building up from there, since 2012, has there been any feature or projects related to it, and how is that taking shape going forward?
Well, we have actually done another, this time a CDM, or Clean Development Mechanism project through the UNFCCC. This one was an oil in Saudi Arabia. And again, that was a much bigger trial, if you're a project, Iffy, and we achieved savings of over 8% in that one. But in that case, it was nearer like sort of 400,000 tonnes of CO2. And that is also UNFCCC accredited. And so, yeah, we're quite proud of these things. But one of the barriers, if you like, is that we have discovered through these projects is that although at government and possibly board level, carbon emissions reduction is a big, obviously a big focus just now. Once you get to plant level, that becomes less of an issue. They're more concerned of operational capabilities. Can the plant operate every day? How much can it produce? What's the profit? What's the electricity? So much as we have got a great technology with great background, great case studies, those become less of an issue at that level. And it's having to deal with that is one of the problems that we are finding, not just in Europe, but in Asia, Africa, and South America.
It's fascinating stuff, David. I've got a more general question for you. So I'm just wondering, do you find that your customers are becoming more focused on sustainable solutions now? And if so, has that had an impact on your product offerings and more so how you market those products?
I think just now, especially that with the focus on COP26 and the environment in general, yes, I think it will become for us a more, dare I say, marketable asset of the company. But as I said, we're still finding, even to this day, that when you get to plant level, the emissions thing is not as big a priority as we feel it should be. I've sat in a couple of big power plants, and I won't say where they were burning coal and lots of it. I mean, 25,000 tonnes a day. And you say, look, we can reduce this. We know we can reduce it, and we can make your plant more efficient, and we can reduce the emissions. And they immediately focus on the efficiencies rather than the reduction in carbon. But hopefully we can focus on this a bit more, and it will become more of an issue again. It should be a big issue across the world, not just here or through COP26, but just in general. I think the sustainable economy, sustainable environment is something we should all be aiming for. And we're actually making a big investment in our digital marketing purely on the carbon reduction saving, because we know we can't bring net zero right now in our technology, albeit we're looking at ways of changing things, but we can definitely give immediate impact in terms of carbon reduction savings.
For sure. Thanks, David. Yeah, and increasing efficiency is so important to reducing waste. So I think I'll just bring this one to a close just now and just say thanks everyone for your time today. It's been a pleasure hearing about your sustainable technologies. And I'll just close off by saying that we're here to help companies get their innovative ideas to market faster, and that includes support with sustainable technologies and improving sustainability. So please don't hesitate to get in touch with a member of the Scout team to find out more. Thank you.